all of the previous smoke bombs I've made them to be 20-gram samples, and then done different things with smoke bombs that size, with the slight exception of the additives, which I added a bit more. But I'm doing something significantly different this time. Right now I'm making a 100-gram batch, so 60 grams of potassium nitrate and 40 grams of sugar. And with that, I'm going to try to make it into a couple different pieces, which are fairly long and narrow, and then do some stuff with them. I think I'm going to throw them just to see how well they work through the air. Do they blow out or something? And see how they work in water. Because they have the oxidizer and the fuel with them, so they should work in water, but if water sucks too much heat from them, it might put them out. But it would only put them out by sucking heat from them, not by eliminating the oxygen, which is how water puts out most things, is by sucking heat and eliminating the oxygen. But if they burn fast enough, they should be able to burn underwater. This batch is getting close to the point where I'm going to take it out of the pot. I've never done such a big batch before, and it is acting kind of differently, so hopefully this goes okay. I've had this up pretty high through most of the time I've been making it, but right now I have it down pretty low, because I think if I'd had it higher, this would completely overflow. Occasionally taking it off to let the bubbles recede. It does get bubbly at the end, but I haven't seen it this bad. I've turned the stove down to the lowest I think I can get it and still have it run. These bigger samples seem a bit more workable. It might be just because they have more heat in them. Whereas I found like the small 20-gram samples, and these aren't actually, shouldn't be that much bigger, I'll measure them in a bit, aren't as workable. The small 20-gram samples aren't as workable as these big, which should be around 33-gram samples. But there'll be losses. One thing I noticed is that doing this larger batch is definitely easier than doing the smaller batches. The reason I did it was for consistency, but it's certainly easier to not have to like stress every couple minutes, instead just wait for it to boil off, and then literally have a bit more stress at the end, but it's not that bad. My original plan was to roll these between the two pieces of wood with duct tape on it so these did stick to the wood, but it didn't end up working out that way because they cooled down not as fast as I would have expected, and I just wanted to get it done and not have bits sitting in the pan forever. So that's what these are. I'm just rolling them against the duct tape, and that's working pretty well. These are the three pieces that I made out of the batch. This first one that I took out of the pan first is still a little bit malleable, which, I don't know, it seems completely cool. And that was 29.9 grams. The second one that I took off is also a little bit malleable, but feels slightly more brittle than that one, and that is 31.0 grams. And the last one I took out is basically completely stiff, or I don't want to put enough force on it because I'd be worried it would break, and that came out to 30.3 grams. I'm pleasantly surprised how close I got them to be together, only 1.1 grams of difference when I was just estimating their size. Using number 3, I'm going to light it, and once I'm sure it's going, I'll drop it in the water. The reason I'm using a blowtorch is I tried earlier with a lighter, but I don't think it was working well enough in the wind conditions I have right now, which, well, right now seemed like a strong breeze, but earlier, so that just went out as soon as I dropped it in the water. I'll try again because why not? Maybe even try, yeah, it's dry. There's a few bubbles of smoke which came up in the water, but again, it went out perfectly. I don't know, it seems to be having issues lighting. I'm not sure why. Haven't had issues like this. It's like, just doesn't seem to stay lit by itself. Might be a bigger issue. Well, let's try it there, see if it will get it lit and stay lit. And yeah, it's wet, but quickly can do that. Well, that water wasn't in frame, but it did go out even when it was going really well, as soon as it hit the water. Just burn this up. So I've got number 1 here, and I'm going to light it off, and once it's lit, and I'm pretty sure it's lit well, I'm going to throw it and just see how that goes. And I'm wearing this face shield and big gloves because I'm intentionally lighting these off in my hand, which I haven't done before. That went out in the air, but it wasn't really going that well to start with. And it's hard to tell because these will just go out on their own so frequently. It's hard to tell if the reason is because I'm throwing it or not. That looked like it went out once it hit the ground. And in case anyone's is getting too small to light off. Let's use number 2. Stayed lit and then just burnt out on the ground. I'd say from both the throwing test and the dunking it in water test, the results are slightly unclear. With the dunking in water, it's pretty clear that the water puts it out because it would just go out every time. But from this throwing test, I don't think the throwing is having much of an effect because it definitely survived the throw a couple times and even landing. But it's really unclear because these are just so variable. Like when they stop burning. I think what I need to look at is how to get something that will burn, or just figure out what's happening, why it isn't burning super well. I'd love to be able to really show this, but it just looks like it needs to, I just need to figure out why it isn't burning that well, or maybe I need a slightly higher concentration of potassium nitrate. I've had some issues in the past with the 60% not fully burning. Maybe I just need to go up a bit to get something that consistently burns. I really don't know. Well, it burnt a hole straight through the pie pin. From that test, it seems like it maybe needs to be a little bit more like, I don't know, a little bit bigger than the diameter that I had it running at. Because that, once I got that going, which wasn't that hard, it burned extremely viciously.